I love Dr. Michelle Correll. She is truly a darling, such an anointed teacher, and it's such a treat when she comes on and shares some of her Hebrew knowledge with us. Well, as I told you, I have an incredible guest for you today. I love overcoming stories. I love the God who does impossible things. I love his promises. He promises us that he's Jehovah Rapha, the God who heals. And so today, Pastor Elizabeth Shreve is here. She pastors with her husband, Mike, the sanctuary in Cleveland, Tennessee. She has two beautiful children, and she has walked an exemplary Christian life. Her world turned upside down a few years ago with 6 words of a diagnosis, and she's going to tell us about that today. So thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
Yay. Okay, so this book, I Cried a River, is your journey.
It's my journey.
It's your journey. Tell me the 6 words that turned your life upside down.
You have cancer.
Wow.
It's inoperable.
Wow. 6 words can change everything.
It changed everything. I wasn't even going to go to the doctor that day because my daughter was in a ballet recital. And, of course, I was the dance mom. I love being a mom. But I decided, okay, I'll just run down and go ahead and have this, checkup, yearly checkup. When I walked in, started going through it, he said, I feel something. And I said, no. And he said, no, I feel something. And I said, he was a friend of ours.
Yeah.
He'd birthed my babies. I knew him for 20 years.
Yeah.
And he said, it's right here. We need to go down to imaging. And Jen, from that moment, my whole life turned.
Yeah.
I mean, when I went to imaging, I came back up and sit down, and he was sitting at the edge of his desk, and he looked at me, and I knew there's something wrong.
You could tell by the look on his face.
I could tell. And the first thing he said was, where's my cat? Which is something, why would you ask me that?
Yeah.
And I said, he's in North Carolina preaching. He said, okay, well, there is a mass there, and it's rather large. And I said, no, it's not. No, I'm a good girl. I've done everything God said do. I'm not sick. And he said, we need to start jumping on this right quick. And the first thing I said after that was, will I live?
Wow.
Will I live? And he said, now I can't make you promises. I can't. It's really large. So I want you to get with Mike, enjoy the holidays, and at the first of the year, we will tackle this thing, but I want you to have this one more holiday season with your children.
Wow.
And I was just like, what
Shocking.
are you talking about?
Exactly.
How could this be? You ever had the breath knocked out of you? And I don't remember much then, except I remember getting in the car, and I was sitting there, and I had pamphlets, and that's about all I remember. It was just like being so shocked and just devastated.
Yeah.
Devastated with something that you never think you're going to get sick.
Right.
And I didn't feel sick. I was happy, jovial, let's have a good time. I'm a party girl.
Yeah.
I was like, let's party. And then that moment changed everything. Just in a moment, my whole life was changed.
Wow. Well, in your introduction, something that I thought was so special is over and over and over, you begin the paragraphs the same way. And I thought I'd just read it. It says, I am a cancer survivor. I am a strong woman. I am a wife, mother, and friend. I am cancer-free. Yeah. And then you talk about a point. And then, you say it again. And I love how you repeat it. And this book is called I Cried a River.
And I did.
And one of the things I want us to talk about today, because not every tear were sad tears.
No.
And the chapters I love, tears of shock, tears of fear, tears of sharing, tears of faith, tears of disappointment, tears of joy. And you list all the different types of tears. So talk a little bit, when did God say, I want you to document this journey?
As soon as I found out, Mike came in from North Carolina, and he was like, we need resources. We need resources. So I went to the Christian bookstore, and when you get that kind of diagnosis, you're sort of ashamed to even say the word out loud.
Right, because you're a woman of faith.
I'm a
you
woman of
stand
faith.
on the word.
I'm not saying that word. And I went in, the little girl behind me, and I was like, I need a book. And she said, oh, I'll help you. I'm here. And I said, I have cancer. And you could tell immediately her face went, just the life went out of her. And I said, I need some books. I need some hope. I need some faith. I need some encouragement. And she took me all the way to the back, and on the very bottom was these books. And so I just grabbed everything that had the C word.
Yeah.
I got home, I laid them out in front of our fireplace. When Mike come in, I was weeping and crying. And I said, Mike, I'm just going to die. I mean, you should read these books. There's nothing. It talks about my hair loss. It talks about, it's so,
no hope, huh?
No hope whatsoever. What about joy? What about the strength of the Lord taking me through this? What about Jehovah Rapha? He's going to heal me. What about? And Mike grabbed all the books up and he said, we're taking them back and getting our money back.
Good for him.
But when he was gathering up the books, the Spirit of the Lord come over me and said, you're going to write a book, and it'll be full of faith, and it'll be full of hope. And it'll be about being triumphant.
Amen.
And it'll be about, I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. It'll be about coming through it, but coming through it with strength and encouragement and being able to be ministered to others through your battle. I think everything we go through is for a reason and for a purpose. Because now when I meet people that are going through that same thing, I'm like, look at me. Doggone, I look good.
Yeah. I don't look like I've been through a terminal illness, right?
No, I don't look. I think when we go through a battle, we don't have to look like we've been through it.
You're right.
And I think that if you're trusting in God enough, He will come to you and He will reveal Himself and give you the strength you need to make it through. I mean, it's just what God does for us. It's just how He is.
Yes.
And when we accept Him as our Heavenly Father and our healer and our director and those who, takes us through, we can have joy and we can have health and we can have victory in the battle.
Yes.
We're warriors.
We
can come through. We can come through it. I remember specifically, Mike was evangelizing, and I was going to say, I can do this. I can do this. I'm going to be strong through it all. But I'd like to say I was, but there was moments of deep depression and deep sorrow. And I went in to have a biopsy, and I went in, and I remember walking in and looking around and thinking, wow, these people are sick, and then walked on in and went through. And then somewhere while I was going through the testing, the voice ran through my mind, you're all alone.
Oh.
You're alone in this battle. Michael had to stay gone, and you have no one that, you don't want to talk about this. And then I thought, I might die. What about my babies?
Yeah. Yeah.
What about my babies? And so I was going through it with, the people who were working, but the whole time, Jen, my mind was, you're going to die. You're alone. And I remember stepping out and walking around, and I looked out again in the cancer center, and I thought, they're not only sick, I'm sick. That dawned on me. I'm sick. And I walked on and got on the elevator, just so discouraged and so depressed and just so, I'm going to die. Who's going to raise my baby?
Yeah.
I want to see my baby in a wedding dress.
Yes.
I want to hold my grandbabies. I could not realize why I was sick. You just, why?
Right.
And I got in the elevator and I was standing there. I pushed the button and I heard a little noise. When I say God will reveal yourself, He will reveal Himself.
Yeah.
And it was a little lady, and I just looked at her, and the first thing I thought was, I hope she don't talk to me, because I'm in such a bad mood.
Right.
Please leave me alone, But she kept stepping toward me, and she had a little red skirt on, a little white shirt with a little ruffle, and a little red shoestring, like she was from the 30s. And a little gray bun, a little Pentecostal bun. And I grew up Pentecostal.
Oh, yes.
And I looked at her and I stepped away and she stepped closer and I stepped away. And then she came up right in my face and she said, you look like you need a hug. And I said, oh, okay. But she put her arms around me and I felt the peace of God. And I felt the joy of the Lord. And she said, on her tiptoes in my ears, she said, you are not alone,
Oh, Jesus.
and this will be okay. And I was just, it was like all of that depression and all that darkness washed off of me.
Yes.
And the door opened, I got out, and I was like, oh, I should have thanked her. So I turned back around. She was not around. I was like, I bet she was a volunteer. Went up on the second floor. No one had seen her. Went up on the third floor. No one had seen her. So she was old. I bet she's in the parking lot. She's walking to her car. I ran down. She's not in the parking lot. I was like, well, that's just weird. And I called Mike, and he said, you think that might have been an angel?
An angel, yeah.
And I was like, no, not to me. Maybe to you, man of God. Angels don't visit mamas. Angels don't visit workers. Angels don't visit people who run Sunday school. Or angels visit men of God, you know, the elite. And he said, no, honey, I think an angel has come your way.
So.
And I got in the car and I cried,
yeah,
because I knew the Lord had sent me a messenger to say, you are not alone.
Yes.
And this will be okay.